Yeah, like starting anything as an entrepreneur is exponential.
I had to start from scratch, right? Get into the coaching space.
My opinion is product market fit.
Of the system, and I wanted to build something. And my family lost millions of dollars in their bank account. I had a life that was like everything was set up for me. Welcome everybody to the first episode of Up Level Man podcast, and I'm here with the man behind the #1 pee bottle company in the US, Henry Ackerman. How's it going, Henry?
I'm doing good. Yeah, the company is called PEESPORT.
All right. Yeah. So, basically we're like talking, like the first time that I actually met Henry, like when he actually mentioned this to me about it, I was like, wow, this is a journey. Like this guy was able to develop and actually like grow this company, like where like just close to 7 figures, I believe. Like how did you?
Well, it's less than a year old. Well, it's 1 year old and yeah, about 100K a month revenue, growing slowly.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's insane. In 1 year, being able to do that, like I can imagine like the development that you actually had to go through to be able to actually create something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, like starting anything as an entrepreneur is exponential. You know, you could work for years and you make zero. You do 16-hour days, and then maybe one day you'll make $1 million or $2 million.
Yeah.
But maybe or most likely you won't make anything. Just wasted your time.
Man,
That's why it's important to pivot fast if it's not working.
man, that's crazy, man. Like I've seen people like working like their ass off years and years and years, and then like you figure out a model that works, and then it can just blows up, and then out of nowhere, like from freaking pee bottle, finding yourself like freaking like making sales and actually getting clients and actually finding a big need for that, you know? So
Yeah.
at least from my own personal journey, like when I actually from in Lebanon, when the financial crisis happened, and then I had to start from scratch, right? Get into the coaching space. I had to drop out of university. I was out of the system and I wanted to build something. And one of the biggest thing that inspired me was the fact that I needed to set up, like I saw like the way of how things were going, like how basically my family lost millions of dollars in their bank account. Like I find myself in a spot where like it was like a reality shift. Like I had a life that was like everything was set up for me, you know? And then after that, I basically, you know, like out of nowhere, like this happens. You can't take your money out of like your bank account anymore. You can't transfer anywhere. You can't do anything with it. It's gone. You know, like that change was insane. And I actually had to do something about it. And growing the coaching business, I actually like invested in my first mentor from there and actually did transformational coaching for my own journey, and then helped others with it. But it took me like 6 to 12 hours a day, just like figuring things out before it actually took off. And I started traveling around the world and building my own coaching business from that, you know? And I can imagine your journey, like with starting PEESPORT, how it can be like with the process of testing different models and seeing like in the e-commerce space, like what do you feel like what worked? Like, what did you do before that, before you actually find a place where you actually had something that worked?
I think when starting anything, you know, the most important thing, in my opinion, is product market fit. So, for example, like, you know, if you have a good product, the product has to be good. It has to be something that people want and need. And there needs to be a market for it. So, like with PEESPORT, for example, you know, everybody pees. There's no good pee bottle on the market. They're all shit. They're these ugly plastic jugs. You don't want to carry that around. So we made a nice looking one. We put up a website. We tested it. People started buying it because they were interested. It's unique. It's different compared to an ugly plastic jug. And so there was a good product. There was a market. It was a fit. So good product, good ads, and get it in front of the right people who need it. And you go from there. You know, a lot of people, they start a business. You know, they think that they have a cool idea. They start it, but there's no market for it. You know, especially a lot of people in tech. They build apps, but you don't know who are you building the app for.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people might not need it, might not want it. You don't know. So I think it's important to test first.
Yeah.
And test quickly, you know? You don't want to build something for 3 years and then find out nobody wants it.
That's such a big trap. That's such a big trap that people fall into all the time. I guess, like, who are the people that actually see the value in it? Like, what is the audience?
In PEESPORT, the
Yeah.
bottle. That's also something I had no idea from the beginning. So the story is, it was a funny idea I had with a friend. We were joking about it, and then I looked into it, and I Googled pee bottle, and I saw all the pee bottles are these ugly plastic ones. So I thought, you know what? Let's make a nice one.
Okay.
So I reached out to a factory. We worked together. We made a really nice silicone design that looked, pleasing to the eye. And we put up a landing page. This all took a few weeks. It was like fast.
Wow.
Put up a landing page, pre-orders, buy now. And then I think 2 to 3 months later, I forgot about it. I was working on other projects. 2 to 3 months later, some guy, some outdoor gear blogger on Twitter, like in the camping, hiking space.
Yeah.
He mentioned it. He's like, oh, look, check this out. It's like the best pee bottle I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that campers and hikers used pee bottles. I thought they were just pee on trees.
Yeah.
But apparently a lot of them carry it around when they hike,
Wow.
So we had a couple hundred pre-orders from that. And then that was the validation. So then I stopped. I put less time in my other projects and put more time into PEESPORT. And it started to grow and grow and grow. And now it's my #1 project. Just, people wanted it. So the target group was campers, hikers initially. And then when we started running ads, we found out that older people have a big need for pee bottles.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of incontinence problems. And there's all these groups. There's older people. There's like drivers, Amazon drivers, women who go to festivals, camper vans, pilots. If you're a pilot of a small plane, you can't take your hands off the wheel. And small planes don't have toilets.
Oh.
So it's another group. And then, so it's there's a lot of markets.
Wow. Pilots. Yeah, I can imagine that. I mean, I don't know what the big planes have. It seems like they can figure it out, but those small planes, they need
Yeah,
like
you can't
that.
take your hands off the
they need that pee bottle.
need like a hose thing and then just hold on.
Just put it out. Is it the #1 problem? Like they have like what do they say on TikTok? Like they need a bigger hole.
Oh yeah. So our first successful ad was on TikTok.
Yeah.
We had a good hook. So a hook for an ad is like the first 3 seconds that catches the attention of who's watching. And our hook was like me holding the pee bottle. No, so I was pretending to pee on a tree.
Yeah.
And then I turned around and you saw that I had a pee bottle instead of, my penis showing.
Yeah.
And that was the hook. And then it was like, oh yeah, this is the world's best pee bottle. Check it out. Explaining it for like 30 seconds. And that ad did really well on TikTok. And it was auto targeting. So TikTok knew for some reason to target older men.
Oh.
Our biggest customer group.
Yeah.
So it targeted older men. We sold thousands from that. And then we launched, more ads after that.
Yeah. And it's crazy. I mean, like, how do you feel like was your development personally? Like what did it really took from you to be able to actually build this? Like, what are the sacrifices that you made in other areas of your life? I don't know, like health, social, relationships, mental health, when they were spending time with family or friends, like how did that came through? Like, what was the price for you to actually find a product market fit and actually blow up PEESPORT?
That's a great question. I think it's a mindset thing, like you have to go through some kind of struggles in your life to want to start your own thing. Otherwise, working a job, having a family, doing the standard, going to university, doing the standard thing it can be happy, it depends on the person. I don't know. For me, I think it's because my parents were immigrants and I was born in the U.S. So growing up, I always had a different perspective. I was like, oh yeah, things can be different. It doesn't have to be this way. And my parents are from, Ukraine, former Soviet Union. So they were like super, what's the word? Like, don't believe everything anyone tells you or what the government tells you. You know, always make up your mind, you know. My mom's like, oh, yeah, don't trust the doctors. Just, you know, do your own thing. Everything. So it's like skepticism, a healthy level of skepticism. Because everything is made up, you know, so you can do your own thing and help the world in your own way. You don't have to follow the standard university, you know. I mean, your story is similar, right?
Yeah, like I totally resonate with that. I mean, my parents are Armenian, and I was born in Lebanon, and my whole family is Armenian. And but I had the same thing where it's like I always felt like outside of I was thinking like always like different from how like the general system was going. So when it comes to university, for example, when it came to the system, I had to realize that there's something bigger than just following through studying and just getting results. I was basically printing copybooks for university students at $300 a month. It was insane. Like it made, I was sick of it. I was tired of it. It sucked, man. It really sucked, you know? And especially after like getting into the space of realizing how much potential I had in what I could have become, but I was just been wasting it, like from my time, my energy, like from things that either were not aligned with me, or robbing me from my time and energy. You say social media, you can say like relationship, like toxic friendships that were just not aligned and were just like holding me back. But also different like problems that happen. I mean, for example, now like I'm doing the anti-porn addiction sales, right? Like we're actually like running, even not in the US, only like running the number one like porn addiction coaching company in the world. You know, we're helping men stop jerking off. It's a big problem. You know, it's a big problem. We have guys from 18 till 75 years old, right? We have guys that like have been addicted from 5, 10, 15, 30 years to being free from like 1, 2, 3 plus years from porn. And it's a big problem. And it's a system that who would think that, you know, like who would even think that it's even possible to first of all run a business helping people stop watching porn, you know? And we're not talking like someone paying like a $7 course or anything. Like we're talking about a $2,500 program where people commit to, and like a life-changing program. And even until this day, I mean, for example, my dad, like, he doesn't even, like, know what I'm actually doing, really. You know, it's like this Anthony guy in front of the computer.
What is my son doing?
Yeah, it's like Anthony guy in front of
I know
this.
it's about porn.
Yeah. I know it's about porn. Yeah, I'm just like jerking off, slowly taking it, you know. Yeah, but it's like, you know, like Anthony with this, like, magic computer that just press a few buttons and basically make money from it. And, but it really was about taking ownership and responsibility, that betting on myself that there is a better future, that there's something that I have potential that I could tap into, and I cannot allow myself to settle for a mediocre life, a life where it's just average. I'm like going out to this job, making like this stable income that is being eaten away by inflation. With like friends that maybe I don't really like, but I'm just hanging out because I don't want to be alone. You know, it's like I had to really cut out so many friendships, and I felt lonely for a very long time. You know, like when I was in Armenia living there, like I literally like had no friends. I was basically just in Yerevan in my downtown studio. Like I was running a dating coaching program for men, right? And I was basically making 20 grand a month at 22 years old. And I had nobody to trust. I had no friends that I could trust. And it was a journey. I mean, I was like working like 12, 16 hours a day all the time. And people were saying like, whoa, this is awesome. This is incredible. But at the same time, I was having panic attacks that nobody knew about. Nobody knew that I was like every single day, like I was feeling like my reality is being shattered. Like that fear is coming up. It's next level. Like it's something that I've never even
like thought it's gonna happen with me, at this young of age, like
22, yeah.
Yeah, and but I got out of it, and then I actually had to learn how to trust people, how to develop friendships, because especially with this entrepreneurship mindset, it actually helps a lot from someone to get out if they're unhappy in their situation, to get out of that, to get to where they want to be, because it like leads them to cut out friendships that are toxic, that are not actually helping them. And you kind of go in this route where you're like lone wolfing, right? Like lone wolfing. But that is not sustainable. I mean, even though it's better, for the long run, it's really, really unhealthy. Mm-hmm. And that's where like it's about finding a pack, finding a group, finding a community. Yeah. Community. And I believe you're like really big on community.
Yeah.
Really, really big about it.
The only reason I go to places is for the community. Anywhere,
Yeah.
It's all about the group of people you're around.
Yeah.
It's really important. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so this podcast is about up-leveling
up-leveling men, up-leveling yourself. Yeah. It's about elevating your lifestyle, but mainly through the lifestyle, from like the connections, the relationship that you're developing, but also internally, like letting go of trauma. Like a lot of the clients that I've went through, for example, I had a client that we helped him find a partner. He got into a 2 years relationship. Within that time, like he had this trigger that he was like constantly projecting a mother wound that he had. Where all the time he felt like he's seeking validation from his partner all the time and seeking approval. And if she doesn't approve him, he feels bad about himself. And if she does, he feels great about himself. And then after the breakup, it really literally destroyed his reality. Like he questioned everything about himself and lost his purpose and didn't know what to do anymore. And that's where like we actually had to really dive deep into like helping them build that identity back up, to actually give that love that he was expecting for her to give him to himself. And that really like changed the game in terms of being able to bringing that love back to within you, instead of expecting it from others.
Yeah, not an outside thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everything's inside. It's all about the mind, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Internally. And I believe like a lot of guys have a lot of potential when it comes to living the life that they will be fulfilled in. The relationship that would connect with. This is like true deep like friendships and relationships. But also the potential that they can do, like in terms of like impacting people and leading, right? And it all comes down to this internal thing of really being able to feel whole within yourself, to feel safe and not needing validation and not need like actually like validating yourself and feeling safe within yourself and being able to.
What do you think is necessary, like the basic building blocks to get that?
The basic thing that I believe this person needs to go through is taking action. Number one, like there's different levels, right? Number one, people that are unhappy in the situation that they're in, they haven't really tried as much. They just have this problem and they're complaining. And the advice for these people is that you got to stop complaining, stop bitching about it, and actually take ownership and responsibility about your life and own it. Own your situation. It's on you. It's on you. It's not on anybody else. The second one.
So the first part is like radical responsibility.
Yeah.
Take ownership of your life.
From victimhood to radical
action.
Responsibility. Okay. Exactly. Number two is people that have the problem and they've tried some things, but they didn't really able to solve it because they were halfway in, halfway out. They weren't like really committed to overcoming whatever problem they have, whether it's like an addiction, like porn addiction, for example, right? A lot of guys have tried a lot of things. They want to quit, but they haven't really gave it their all to quit. And then you have like being all in, and those people like are just committed to their transformation, to becoming a different version of themselves.
So number two is going all in.
Number two is halfway in, halfway out, and number three is going all in.
Okay.
And
And in terms of going through that transformation, like someone needs to be able to take action first and realize that there are some things that is holding him back from actually going all out and going all in. And by letting go of those things, it's like a car that has that huge weight in behind. And it's like driving, you're pressing on the gas, but you're like carrying this huge like boulder of the gigantic rock, and you just like take a scissor and cut the ropes, and you just like drive fast, unleash the potential.
But what is the core problem
The
you're
core
talking about? Addiction, like
so the core problem is basically like the fact that addiction, right? Needing, for example, like problem that comes into relationships, into connecting with people, finding someone to feel like feeling whole and self-love. It's basically the fact that there's these subconscious, like what is the place that it's coming from? Where are all of these coming from? What is the why behind someone wanting to escape themselves behind their addiction? That why, when someone figure it out, the root cause behind creating all of these symptoms, it allows them to really, to actually overcome those problems.
So addiction is not the core problem. Discovering your why is like as core as it gets. What's an example of that?
Well, for example, like one of the things that we do, like for my own coaching with my clients, is basically we do like a practice where we literally bring awareness to the sensation that comes up around different topics. And we do triggers to see like what is actually coming up into those triggers. And sometimes it becomes really, really intense. And this is something that if someone haven't really experienced it, they have to experience it to actually understand how it feels. But essentially, they would literally feel like there's these blockages. And you literally have to stay with those sensations to actually like be aware and be present with them.
So like meditation, you feel, physically feel it. Okay.
Yeah. And like when you be aware of those sensations and you feel comfortable in those sensations, sometimes as soon as you feel comfortable, a new resistance come up and you kind of like go to a new layer and it kind of like changes paradigm with that. You know, so have you ever heard of the levels of energy from Frederick Dodson or David Hawkins? So it's basically like this scale, right? You have like apathy, you have grief, you have fear, you have anger, you have courage, you have desire, you have purpose, you have love. And these are different frequencies that people operate. And one of the main things that I've seen from my old mentor that actually taught, and I've applied it religiously into my life, is basically people have different habitual states, emotional states, and they have temporary like pockets of states. So some people operate in a state of apathy all the time. So like the way that they perceive the world is, what's the point of even trying? You know, the other person, someone else can be in grief. They're more in a victim mindset. It's like, oh, poor me. It's that person's fault, or it's that person's fault, or is this circumstances? That's why I'm here. That's why I'm in this situation right now. I'm not actually being where I want to be because of the fact that it's just like that. And poor me, and that's it. And
The victim mindset.
yeah. And then like you have the other person that is like, okay, taking ownership, responsibility. That is more towards like the hustle culture type of environment, that is more like
But is that healthy?
no,
it's a balance.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like more like discipline, motivation,
Ice bath.
That's the thing to Shani right there. But yeah, it's like the hustle culture. Like you gotta wake up at 5 p.m. in the morning every single day until the day that you die. That's how you're gonna actually be more motivated and actually get things done. Do your 4-hour morning routine. Right? So that's like people in fear. That comes up more like hustle culture mindset.
Fear.
Yeah, people operating in fear. That tends to happen.
mainly.
Really?
Fear
Okay.
and anger. These are the two ones, like for the hustle culture.
Okay. It's interesting.
And after that, you have more like courage and purpose and love, and these people that resonate more with like high vibe type of energy. You know, like woo, life, and all of it. All of those energies and all of those states are incredible, but it depends on where someone is going, like where you're going and what you're trying to do. And sometimes if someone is in a state of, for example, grief and they want to get things done, they really have to shift their state to basically get things done and tap into that potential. And actually stepping into fear and anger is really going to help them. But if someone that is already in fear and anger, they probably have burnt it out to the ground. And if they keep going, they're just going to burn out and they're just going to crash.
So what do?
They have to let go.
And go where?
They have to let go of the need to control the fear and the anger and tap and allow themselves to, instead of using work ethic and discipline to get things done, becoming more of a work magnet. You know, like be magnetized towards the work where it doesn't really feel like you need willpower or effort to do it, but more it's like you gotta, like, you just feel that it's effortless. You just feel like it's part of you, you know? How did you feel when you did like the PEESPORT, like the development of it? Like, do you feel like it was more like the discipline part, or did you feel like it was more you were magnetized towards the work and you felt that it was more effortless?
Towards pee bottles?
Yeah, towards the pee bottles, yeah.
Well, just to go deeper than that, I think it's, I mean, for me, it's a different experience, you know. I don't necessarily love talking about my story because it's everybody has their own story, but it starts with the mind, right? Like we talked about, and these emotions. And my question for that would be like, you know, the basic core of up-leveling and, you know, going from a boy to a man is your mind and the discipline of the mind. Like, what is that quote? Most people can't sit in a room for 10 minutes. If they could, you know, the world would be at peace. What's that quote again?
I know that saying.
Something like that.
I know that saying though. Yeah, I've heard about it.
So I think it starts with just, like you said, the energies and being with yourself. So if you can sit in a room alone, like this room, for 10 minutes and just sit.
Yeah.
Don't want to do anything. Don't, you know, like just sit. Just chill for 10 minutes. Like, can you do that? Like, personally, can you do that? I think so.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
But a lot of people cannot.
Yeah.
So I think it starts with that, no? You just sit by yourself for 10 minutes a day and you meditate. And then, you know, you would discover yourself and what you really want to do, and just you build from that base. But I feel like in our culture, everything is so rushed and you just don't know what's happening. Always go, 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 busy, busy.
Yeah.
But the natural state is just to just sit with yourself, you know, to be happy with yourself before talking about something external.
Yeah, and I can imagine how the chaotic, I mean, especially now in life, it's the city life and like there's so much stuff someone needs to deal with in a daily basis. It's crazy, you know, like if they don't have systems, if they don't have a certain type of process to actually deal with everything, it's a lot for someone.
But if you have a calm mind, it doesn't matter what happens in the external world.
Exactly.
I think a lot of meditation focuses on calming the inner monologue and the inner voice. And I love to talk about this because it's like a passion of mine. Do you have an inner monologue? Do you have a voice when you think? Because some people do and some people don't. And for a lot of people, it's constantly talking in their head.
Yeah.
You're sitting in that room alone for 10 minutes and it's talking. But imagine if you just sat there and there was nothing. You just sat there and breathed for 10 minutes.
Dude, this is a really good point. Like, this is pretty much like the basis when it comes to leveling up.
That's
as
the
a
basis.
man.
Yeah, I agree.
And the reason I believe so, especially through the thousands of people that I've talked to in terms of the porn addiction, this overthinking, this constant voice coming in between your ears over and over and over again, it holds people back from living in reality. It's sometimes literally separates the person from the present moment, and being able to snap out of that, like literally like snap out of that, like wake up, you know, like wake up, like literally like shake it, you know, like. And I had this session once with one of my clients, and he was like literally like had to shake him up. Like I literally like just like wake up, like I literally like have to go all in, because like enough that like of halfway in, halfway out all the time, just go and commit, you know, like just commit to this path, and you'll see like all of that overthinking, that self-judgment, that critic is going to come, it's just going to disappear. It's not going to come back anymore. And it's so much easier to get things done when that is not there anymore, and it's just here and it's clear. Because like imagine this, like what if I do this, I'm gonna fail? What are these people gonna think about me if I do this and I put myself out there and I'm gonna get rejected and I'm not gonna perform as I'm supposed to do? I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I don't feel that I'll be able to make it. And like that fear comes up, what if this happens? What if this happens?
It's the downside of being human. Yeah. There's too many of those thoughts.
Yeah.
Imagine how a dog would think, you know?
Yeah.
Or any other animal.
Dog just chills on the...
There's no talk. Mm-hmm. There's no constant talk. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of people too, but I think, dogs, they were just, they would imagine, I want to go sleep, and they go to their bed and they go sleep. I want to go eat, they go to eat. I want to go to the beach,
That's
my owner's gonna take me to the beach. I'm so excited. Imagines the beach in the head, swwimming.
That's the quote of the podcast. If you want to up level your life, be like a dog.
Be like a dog. But my opinion is humans are naturally like dogs, and we are taught through school and writing and our society to have, and it creates this voice in your head.
To separate from that.
And my controversial opinion is the voice is not natural. Humans are not supposed to have an inner monologue and talk to themselves.
I 100% agree. I love that. And it is controversial. It's really controversial.
Like, a lot of people don't even agree with that. And the thing is, like, having that voice never helped.
Really?
Never helped.
Wow, okay.
Never helped. Every decision that I made, when I think about it...
It's a big statement.
Yeah, it never helped me. Every time I just got out of my own comfort zone and just did what I felt that I'm supposed to do, I never regretted it. Every time I thought about a decision, I would just keep in that mental loop of constantly just being in conflict with my own mind, and it just never helped, and create this resistance and inertia in myself, this internal conflict about what is the best decision to make, and then rationalizing all about the different factors, about the pros and cons, and just keep going in this loop and loop and loop over and over again. Is just enough. Enough. It's easy. Chill. Relax. And make a decision. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The inner voice is, yeah. And again, a lot of meditation focuses on calming the inner voice.
Yeah.
Like
meditation's awesome. Meditation is the best thing that's the best thing that I've ever learned, that I've actually learned how to unlearn.
Yeah, unlearn all the shit you were taught in school. Exactly.
Unlearn all the shit you were taught in school.
Be like a 3-year-old again. That's
Go back to being baby, but with all the wisdom. So you grow up, you're a baby first, you grow up to a kid, become a teenager, you become an adult, Then you learn how to become a kid again, but with all the knowledge. And that's how you got to be. With all the knowledge, with all the experience, like, and every lesson that comes up. And I feel that's like what the purpose of life is to learn and take away the lessons that we get from the experiences that we do. So at the end of the day, we're gonna die, and it's just gonna, and that's it. So like, might as well live life to the fullest and experience all the highs and lows that life has to offer. That's my philosophy of life. Just experience all the down and the lows of it. And every time, I mean, honestly, like when I left Lebanon, like when the Beirut explosion happened in 2020, I was like, I'm out, I'm done. I went to Armenia, and I lived in Armenia for like a couple of years, and there was war back then. I'm Armenian too, so I was risking enlisting into the military and fighting a war. And I'm like, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that. I just want to chill. But I risked going there, and I lived there for 2 years. I'm grateful that I didn't have to go, but at the same time, like after 2 years, I had to literally move back again. You know, like that time was like Russia like did not accept military to help Armenia for military protection. At that time, it was being invaded. That was in September 13, 2022. So yeah, like that I remember that day was crazy. Like all like it was like everywhere, like freaking like everywhere is being attacked. The countries, it was crazy. I literally like within 48 hours took 6 luggages like from my house that I've lived there for 2 years and left to Georgia. And that's where the moment where actually I in parallel to the coaching that I've been doing was doing the anti-porn addiction sales for Gianfranco for the coaching program that I was a part of and that I was helping people in, and it has. I mean, I'm grateful for every part of it. Like those highs and lows. Like who would experience that? You know, like just like go out of your. It's kind of like I feel like a James Bond movie. You know, just like running around.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Suffering builds character is important.
Adversity.
If you grew up in a rich family and you never went on your own and
yeah.
had no suffering and you didn't go into war zones,
yeah,
you would be totally different.
Yeah, I mean, I'm grateful. I mean, to be honest, like that's how I was before the crisis. You know, like my family was pretty well off. Everything was handed to me. It was very easy, and I didn't even know like what to do, right? But then when I did that, I became so much more resourceful. I start like figuring things out. I mean, when you lose everything, you just realize how what you're capable of, and it was a big jump. And then like now it's like, for example, because of the adversity that I had to go through, now when a problem comes in, it's like, oh, I went through worse, and I was okay. You know, I went through worse. It's okay. I will be good. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything is unfolding exactly as it's supposed to. It's okay. It feels uncomfortable right now, but discomfort is a part of it. Like, if everything was comfortable, we will be bored to death. If life was comfortable, we will be bored to death. I mean, look at you, pee bottle. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Who would have thought that a pee bottle company, you know, is gonna be like that? Like, it's like how many, like 200 sales a day, or like what was that?
Yeah, I mean, it's growing every month. Where the goal is to grow, and become like Red Bull eventually.
Yeah.
We're going to sponsor pee games, you know, who can pee the furthest.
Yeah, and you were saying about the skydiving thing. You want to get a.
We're going to do an ad skydiving with pee bottles this summer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the up-leveling your lifestyle. You know, you need to jump on a plane and take a pee while you're skydiving.
I don't think it's physically possible when you're skydiving, but we'll look like we're peeing.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, it's not possible.
I think it's too much wind and you're falling too fast.
Yeah. I don't want to imagine that.
But my goal is to, I mean, I take it step by step because you can't control the future. You don't know what's going to happen. The goal is, of course, to build an amazing product and help a lot of people with the product, but also to have fun. And, you know, like Red Bull. Red Bull makes makes an energy drink.
Yeah.
But it's so much more than that. It's a whole brand, and they sponsor all these extreme athletes. They do crazy stuff, and it's fun. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, like
Just having fun. It's important.
and you said like a really good point, like uncertainties about the future. I mean, I believe like in a few years more, maybe like 5 years from now, we're not gonna recognize how life is gonna be. Like it's gonna change.
All you can do is take it step by step.
Yeah.
And the basics, you know. You gotta take care of yourself.
AI and cyborgs and shit, you know, like I mean, I don't know, like before how people when they didn't have like any technology whatsoever, we probably never imagined that a cell phone could exist in a
Oh, this is a topic I love talking about.
Yeah, cell phone could exist and like computers, but now we're just like in a place where we're creating reality. You're just telling AI to do things and it just does.
Do you think technology is a good thing, or is it
a bad thing?
Is the trend bad for humans?
So, especially when it comes to leveling up your life, when it comes to making people feel convenient and comfortable, that is very dangerous for guys, because it's like before when dealing with adversity, as we literally just talked about it, like adversity like creates character, right? So it's like, let's say like AI does everything for you. Now where's the character anymore? But at the same time, if someone already has character and they know how to have that tool that actually helps them to do more, that's incredible. That's like really, really cool.
Well, my controversial opinion is the more technologically advanced a society is, the unhappier the people become.
Yeah.
I think humans naturally, for hundreds of thousands of years, they lived as hunter-gatherer tribes in the environment that we evolved to live in, which is tribal in nature, fresh air, obviously, you know, being in a community. Sure, there's adversity, but, you know, hunting with your buddies doesn't sound like as boring as going to a 9-to-5 office. And
wow, I'll be so down to hunt, you know?
I mean, look at an example. Look at Korea, for example. Extremely technologically advanced. Like, you know, they went like straight up.
Yeah.
Over just 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And what happened? People are not happier. Depression rates went way up. Suicide rates went way up. Like, I think the further we get away from living how our DNA evolved to live in a hunter-gatherer tribe in nature, the unhappier in general humans become. But that's just my controversial opinion. You know, other people would disagree.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, if you're like sitting in front of a computer all day long and just going through any problems, not like any tensions, it's like all that energy, where's it gonna go? You know, it needs to be like transmuted in a certain way. And
what's
I mean,
point?
like that's the biggest dating problem in the world for guys. You know, like let's say like 9-to-5 job, you have no tension whatsoever. Everything is so comfortable. You just like repeat the same cycle over again, and it creates a lot of polarity problems because of that. They're not attractive anymore because they never basically went through any adversity. So where's the character? Now you're just a vessel. You know, it's like breathing. You know, where's the risk? Where's the excitement? Where's the uncertainty? Everything's just known and similar. So now it's kind of like robotic.
Yeah.
You know, so that, I mean, it's a big thing. That's why it's like someone needs to actually go through adversity, go through pain, go through discomfort. That's how you're going to actually grow. That's how you're going to transform. And that's how you're going to realize there's a lot of, I mean, there's two ways to look at it. First of all, there's the external factor of going through discomfort, but you literally can go discomfort internally as well. As to what you were saying earlier, sitting in a room for 10 minutes, imagine it's in a dark room. What kind of thoughts are going to come up? I mean, to someone when they are sitting in a room and there's just no thoughts, nothing, no distraction, no cell phone, nothing. It's only you and you.
Yeah, that's the core. You got to practice that.
It's going to be like, you got to kill yourself.
Oh, that's pretty dark.
Jump out of the window.
Right. Wow. I guess a lot of people have these thoughts.
Your mother never loved you. It's just like goes and goes and goes.
And that repeats in the head, like a monologue.
Well, each person has different thoughts about it, but a lot of the times things can get really real at that time. Like, just imagine like the reflex of like someone sitting down in front of the, sitting down without any distraction. A lot of the times it's like, oh no, I need my cell phone, like trying to reach for the cell phone, trying to get something to distract.
Automatically reaching for the cell phone.
Yeah.
That's another problem, technology.
Yeah. And now some people are very Zen-like and they might not have no thoughts and they can like be present all the time. But for the majority of the population in the world, it's not the case. Like most people tend to be dealing with a lot of running away from a lot of things than if you actually like sat down in a room and actually face those things. It is very scary. It's a very scary thought. Not only thought, it's a very scary experience to feel. But if someone actually stay with those sensations, they're gonna feel amazing. They're not even they go into the room one person, they go out of the room, they're like a different person. At least that's what happened with me. Like I would literally like do that and it's just like, whoa, I'm like in a different state right now. How's it going, guys? I'm in a different state now. We're in a different reality. All right, we just snapped. Different. No, but yeah, essentially that's basically what tends to happen.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that reminds me of going back to like how humans evolved to live in forager tribes.
Yeah.
And I think it would be cool to create an experience for people, like a retreat. Go to the forest.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Live like a tribe.
Mm-hmm. Then
you come out of it totally changed. That could be a great experience.
Yeah, we did a retreat. Like I went to a retreat in November, right? Like the 10-day retreat. That was crazy. Like the experience. Like I went in one person, I got out a different person. Like a lot of triggers, a lot of like I faced reality. Like I had to face myself a lot and into the mirror from other people and I believe it's something that people generally like necessarily have to go through to be able to actually to transform their life and change. Because there's some things that you can learn, but there's some things that you can never learn unless you actually go through them. And experiential thing, and I believe like each time, like for each person that want to experience something, whenever actually they want to get result in something and level up their life, you gotta be an experience seeker, not just a learner of overthinking about the different knowledge and information that comes up, but actually seek out those experiences. And that's how you actually can really, truly learn. Because then you can see different perspectives from people, not just adding on more knowledge to an existing perspective. Paradigms. Imagine you've been living your entire life. You had the map of Paris and you're living in Berlin. And you're trying to find your way in Berlin using the map of Paris. For 30 years, you've invested blood, sweat, and tears, and time, and energy, and everything in your body to find yourself in Berlin using the map of Paris. And if I told you right now, hey, this is not the map of Berlin, this is the map of Paris. Is that person like actually gonna say like, oh, it's just the map of Paris? No problem. I'll just drop it. I'll just drop all those 30 years of beliefs and emotions that I've put into this map just normally and just change the map. No.
Well,
are they gonna do it? No.
If you provide compelling evidence, they should do it, yeah.
Well, I disagree on that. And the reason why, because of the fact that it's very challenging. It's like there's an innate nature to protect those beliefs.
It's challenging, but it's important to do it. I think changing your mind is a sign of an intelligent person.
Yes, exactly. But what I see also is the fact that in terms of having that controversy is that it's difficult to admit those like core beliefs that you've believed for 30 years to just drop them right away. it just doesn't happen from overnight. 30 years of having those beliefs. So that's where what happens is that it literally, someone needs to literally burn it to the ground until the point they actually need to realize, oh, it's not the map of Berlin, it's the map of Paris. That's the time they actually realize that they actually need to drop it. But in the beginning, they're going to be like, no, you're a liar. You're a liar. You're not. That's not true. You're trying to sell me something. You're trying to manipulate the facts. You're trying to do this. And it's not until someone actually, until someone actually really like experience some massive punch in the face or hit, until they realize, okay, maybe I'm going to the wrong map. Maybe like I need to change the way that I'm seeing things.
What's a good example of that? Like what happens?
Well, a lot of people, for example, let's say, for example, someone is like, for example, addictions, right? They think that maybe just the way that they're going about operating life, like, for example, they need to feel completed from something external. Like maybe they need a pill, or they need therapy, or they expect from someone something to give them so they can feel whole inside. And they feel that this has been going on for 30 years. So they feel that I need to do something. I need to have something to feel whole in me right now and feel like I don't need anything. But then you tell them, no, you can feel whole within yourself, without needing those things. For a very long time, this person is going to believe and say, it's like, well, no, I need this. I need this because I believe I need this. I've invested all of these beliefs and time and emotion and energy for this long to believe that I need this to be able to actually, feel whole inside. And then they realize, okay, maybe it's something else. Maybe I can bring it up from inside and feel whole within me. So yeah, it's like it is a factor where you can actually have feeling more whole inside when now it is like it's basically like the map, right? Like it's not as easy to drop that map, but once you drop it, it can change your life.
Anthony, can you take the microphone slightly down? Just a touch. Yeah. Thank you. Go on.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, I mean, like, so from your experience, what have you ever had something like that happen in terms of that you believed something for a very long time and then it wasn't true?
Well, when you say that, I think of examples of like, oh, the earth is flat or not.
Okay.
But personally, I mean, I can't recall anything that's like an instant change. It's always an evolution.
Okay.
You learn and you evolve, like day to day, month to month. And it's a slow change.
Okay.
But an instant personal change.
How about I give you an example for me? Like, from my personal experience, one thing I actually thought that being a computer engineer is actually going to be the best life decision I've ever made in my entire life. Like, I'm going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg, I'm going to create that app and everybody's going to pay me money and for advertisement. I'm going to make billions of dollars. Like, that's like, I thought about that for a very long time, that like graduating university is going to help me do that. But then I realized the whole system was rigged and it like light something in me. And I was like, all right, I'm dropping this. And it changed my entire course. And at first I truly believed that it was going to help me, but then it wasn't until I've realized, oh, wow, maybe it's not true for me. Maybe it's a different path that I need to take.
Yeah, I had the same experience. It's malleable. I change. So university I went to for one semester, and then I was like, you know what? This doesn't make sense. So I move on.
Okay.
Try something else. These things, they change quickly. And that's one thought I had, just like you. You have to go to university, you have to get your degree, you have to go through this path. But I evolved, I changed, and I realized there's other ways, and I changed my mind.
Yeah. How old are you when that happened?
I was, I think, same as you. I was 19.
19 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
19 years old. When did you move out of your parents' house?
When I was 16, I got into a study abroad program in Japan for a year. And
Wow.
And I went. I lived in Japan, stayed with a Japanese family.
Wow.
I learned Japanese. I went to a Japanese high school.
Yeah.
And so that was 1 year on my own, moving out. And then I came back. That was 17. 18, I graduated high school and I left. I went to university for a semester. Wasn't for me. And then I started traveling.
Wow.
At 19, yeah.
So it's been 10 years you've been traveling?
Yeah, 10 years, yeah.
What? What?
Slow traveling, yeah.
Slow
Yeah.
traveling.
And I've learned to travel slower and slower. 6 months per place, I wouldn't really call it traveling. I just live
Moved.
wherever I want to live.
Oh, okay.
I don't see it as I'm gonna travel and
Where did you go? Like the first country you went through after you moved out?
So yeah, I've been working online since I was in middle school. Basically, my first successful business was an online like e-scooter company, those Zip scooters for kids.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was my first successful business that actually worked.
Okay.
And I was young at the time. It took me like months just to build a website. Right now you can do it in one day.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what I was doing. So I basically built a website. I shipped scooters from a dealer in the US. We had a partnership. And I ran Google Ads. So Google Ads, website, dealer shipped it to the customer. And I went to university for a semester. I realized it wasn't for me, although I love to learn. And, I love going to lectures with cool professors. Just the whole system, there was so much wasted time. And I hate wasting time.
Yeah.
Like you have to go to this class. You have to do this homework. You have to do these quizzes. It wasn't for me. So I left. I was running the remote business. I went to Costa Rica at 19 for almost a year. And since then, all over Europe, all over Asia.
Costa Rica.
Now mostly back and forth between U.S. and Europe and Asia.
Asia. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine Japan would have been like freaking amazing. Like
Japan is a very unique place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tokyo or
Probably the most unique modern country you can visit.
yeah. I mean, I went to Japan for a few weeks, but I don't actually haven't lived in Tokyo. I went to that Yamaguchi City. It's like an island in Japan. Like there was like a lot of monks there. It was very like Japanese anime manga style.
Wait, where? In the south?
I don't even know where that was, but it was like I was young. I was very young. I was like 16 or not very, very young, but in my teens. And I went there for a few weeks and in an island.
Like Okinawa? Kyushu in the south, Fukuoka.
Yeah, I don't know if
One of those places.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know if Okinawa was like in Yamaguchi or not, but it was one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had. It was awesome. It was just like experiencing the culture and how Japanese people are. It's like, wow, like they're very, very, just different world. It's just the way they think, the way that their manner is, the way their culture is.
Yeah. Japanese people, it's one of the safest countries in the world, one of the cleanest. Everything functions. Everything is on time. People are extremely polite. But there's also the downside, which is, there's a lot of fakeness, a lot of repression. You don't know what people are thinking.
That
probably need to up level their life based on that. No, yeah, because like
the
that
society, yes, yeah.
because fakeness is a big problem. You know, like a lot of people like have problems in actually having like relationships because they just can't be real.
Yeah, personally, I like cultures that are straightforward and direct.
Yeah,
Like the Dutch, you know.
that's
And the other spectrum would be Japanese. And in the middle would be Americans, which are pretty fake, but also pretty, depends on the situation.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. US is very US is very like multi-diverse. So like depending on the people, essentially, there's everything in the US.
the culture
But-
in general is very fake, I would say.
Okay.
A lot of fake smiling, like, "Oh, did you have a good dinner? Can you leave?" Like, a lot of fake. You know, it's a lot of you know. Even if you watch American dramas and TV shows,
Okay.
a lot of the drama, like Seinfeld or something or Friends,
Yeah.
is around they don't want to tell the girl directly. So there's like a whole drama around like,
Yeah.
I did this, I'm gonna do this. Like the whole show is about not being direct, basically.
Yeah.
It's part of the culture.
Yeah, it's like directness is what people crave right now more than anything. Like the fakeness has reached a peak level that is like so insane that people are just tired of fakeness. Like, I mean, that's the thing. Like being direct and being real and being honest and being just authentic is one of the biggest like development that people are literally going through right now in terms of inner work and transformation.
So you agree it's
There's-
a good thing to be direct? Or can you
Yeah.
be too direct?
Yeah, I mean, there's context, right? There's context, and there's a balance between like context and being direct. It's like there's different levels of honesty
What about
too.
radical honesty? Like
Even in radical honesty, there's levels of honesty.
you just say what you're thinking.
Exactly.
The most radical.
Most radical.
Anthony, look a little fat
just like,
today.
yeah, I'm just gonna be like the most radical. That's it. Just say, you know, when you said that, like, you know,
If it pops up, you just say it.
you just say 100%. What is
that
this guy's
could
talking
be fun.
about?
That
you
could
know?
be a fun experiment.
Yeah.
I would do it.
What is this guy talking about? It's just like, what are you talking? You don't even know what you're talking about. You're just like
You're
fucking
talking a
spurting
lot,
shit.
you know?
Yeah. Why are you talking a lot?
I'm not much of a talker.
We're talking shit. So yeah, so it's very important to be radically honest. Be radically honest and be completely transparent with what you're talking about. But be aware of the context. So very, very important to do that. So yeah, a part of the development as in Up Level Man is authenticity and radical honesty and really being able to not only be honest with others, but also be honest with yourself. So if you suck, you suck. Just be real with it. It's okay with sucking because before you actually get good at anything in your life, you gotta suck. And before you let's say, for example, you feel like you're getting triggered a lot in a relationship, and that's just a part of it. You gotta face reality that there are triggers that are happening that you need to face so that you can become a person, the version of you that can heal those relationship with people and with yourself. So Henry was awesome talk, incredible experience. Love the P bottle, PEESPORT, the paradigm, the culture, like all of it. It was an incredible podcast. Episode 1. Stay tuned for episode 2 in Up Level Men. Stay tuned for the guests that we're gonna be featuring in here. And yeah, man, Henry it was
great.
it was awesome to have you, man.
Be radically honest. That's a great tip. Yeah, I'll try it out for a few weeks.
Sounds
Probably
good.
lose a lot of friends, but if I do, they're not real friends.
100% true. All right, guys. Cheers.